YouTube, it's your boy Alex, man. I'm back in another video. I'm gonna be talking about this Dennis Schroeder trade. I saw they get traded Golden State in return for the Anthony Melton and some picks. So we're gonna be talking about the logistics of that and be watching this video by the Flight Mike and just seeing what he has to say. But if you guys like this video, make sure to like and subscribe as we're on the road to 5K. Let's get right into it.
You only care about Dennis Schroeder. Really being finalized is an injured DeAnthony Melton, who's out season in 3 second-round area, heading to the Golden State Warriors per shot.
Now, I do think that this trade is going to like help the Warriors in terms of having like a reliable backup bench point guard, but I just don't really think that they needed this piece right now. But we'll see what Mike says though.
To a trade with the Brooklyn Nets, and this trade is significant because it gives us an insight into where the Golden State Warriors stand and how they view some of their players. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to get the latest NBA news straight to your device. And now that we get all that out of the way, do the intro. So we're pretty much being given free money again. You remember on Thanksgiving when Tyreek Hill only needed 1 receiving yard, and then we just need to make 1 correct prediction to 3x our money, and we hit on Thanksgiving, and now all Patrick Mahomes needs is 1 passing yard versus the Cleveland Browns. So we only need to make 1 prediction to 3x our money again. To take advantage of this opportunity, click the link in the description down below, or use my promo code microphone when you sign up for Prize Picks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. Now, unfortunately, I already 3x'd my money. Yeah, I paired Patrick Mahomes with Josh Allen throwing for over 242 passing yards versus the LA Rams, and could you blame me?
That Chiefs and Bills game, that was an amazing game that they played a couple
and I was
ago.
certain this was gonna hit. Now, I posted this pick onto my Instagram story, so if you followed me on Instagram, you would have seen that pick, but if you didn't, don't worry. I still make plenty of picks on a daily basis for you to pair the Patrick Mahomes free square with another one of my favorite picks for this upcoming weekend, and I have a pretty good track record of hitting whenever we have a free square. So make sure you use my promo code microphone when you sign up for Prize Picks to get a free $50 when you make a play of $5 or more, and hurry up and sign up before they move the lines, because we want to take advantage of the odds we have. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsor. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? In our last video in regards to the Golden State Warriors, we discussed 3 primary trade scenarios, one being the most far-fetched one out of all of them, and kind of a sequel to this rumor that we heard last year, and that's LeBron James getting traded to the Golden State Warriors. And although it was a very cute rumor, it was very easy to debunk that within a matter of minutes. Although Kendrick Perkins loved to
Yeah, LeBron's not going to Golden State, bro. I mean, I know he wants to play with Steph at some. I knew like he wanted to play with Steph at some point in his career, but he wasn't going to Golden State, bro. That just that wasn't gonna
traded, or he wants to entertain it. They're going to entertain it. No, it ain't no holding him back. Meaning, when Golden State called asking about LeBron, Rich Paul, his agent, silenced all that. Yes. If LeBron and they get to this conversation again, I'm hearing Rich Paul ain't getting it.
Well, Brian Windhorst brought us back to reality.
Any trade that the Warriors make is going to be complicated. They have only $500,000 that they're allowed to spend more in this season. Any trade that they make, they really can't take on more money. It's possible if LeBron wanted it. Also, LeBron has a no-trade clause. I would just say that twice in the last 10 months, LeBron has had an opportunity to leave the Lakers. But LeBron has repeatedly made it clear he wants to be a Laker, and if that's the case, there's nothing really to talk about.
It's not guessing or projecting. He's in it. They're not any good. So LeBron's just going to ride it out with this group?
Your point is excellent. His actions...
I'm gonna pause right there. It's really weird that like LeBron's like taking the personal time off like right now as the time of this recording, but he had opportunities to leave the Lakers in the past, so I don't really know what's going through his mind right now. Like, does he really truly want to be a Los Angeles Laker to end off his career, or does he really just want to have at least one more last push in order to compete for a championship as of right now in his career? Because he's still like averaging basically his career averages. Maybe it's taking like a slight dip at probably like 25 points a game and whatnot, but he's still like one of the top 10 players in the game today. So I mean, he's not really taking that much of a drop off in terms of his production, but it's just interesting to see like where does he want to take the rest of his career at right now. So
say, I want to be a Laker.
The big issue with trading LeBron from the Los Angeles Lakers to the Golden State Warriors would have been the fact that, one, the Golden State Warriors would have had to gut out a large portion of their roster in order to make the trade happen, and two, logistically, it just doesn't make sense. LeBron got the head coach he asked for, even though JJ Redick currently looks like he's regretting taking this job. Kind of feel bad for the guy. And the Lakers even went out and drafted his son. They crafted this unique strategy around Bronny's development.
Bronny's been hooping in the G League as lately, though. He's been looking pretty solid, so hopefully they can just continue that little production in the actual NBA at some point.
Video on Bronny's first incredible away game, and if it's up, we'll leave it in the end screen, but if not, it should be up tomorrow morning. So we were able to rule that one out very quickly. The next most likely trade that could happen was the Golden State Warriors trading for Jimmy Butler. Well, once again, there were some logistical issues here. In order to get Jimmy Butler, the Golden State Warriors would without a doubt need to include Jonathan Kuminga, De'Anthony Melton, Moses Moody, possibly one of their first round picks in the future, all for a 35-year-old Jimmy Butler who could opt out of his player option in the offseason, which I'm not necessarily sure how likely that is at this point. In the past, superstars would easily do that because they could get more money on the market, but given the value of the aging star in today's NBA, there's a decent chance that Jimmy Butler could opt back in. But even if they did, would that necessarily yield a contending team for the Warriors? And the fact that they'd have to sacrifice all their depth to find out didn't really make a lot of sense for them.
What's really interesting from Brooklyn's perspective is just like, what are you gonna like? What are you competing for? Honestly, I guess they're just collecting draft picks at this rate. I don't know what's going on with Brooklyn. They need new management, but their situation looking dire, bro.
Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith and guard Dennis Schroeder. The Warriors are among the teams that have expressed interest in those three players. All three of these players fit into the Golden State Warriors seamlessly. Dorian Finney-Smith shoots over 40% from beyond the three and could play the power forward or the small forward position. The same could be said about Cam Johnson, although he's a slightly better defender and a little younger than Dorian Finney-Smith. So the Warriors got to work. They called up the Brooklyn Nets and tried to make a trade happen. And this is where things get very interesting. Originally, we were all wondering how the Golden State Warriors felt about Jonathan Kuminga. You remember what happened with Steve Kerr and Kuminga last year when Kuminga came out and called out his head coach, saying that he lost his faith in the Golden State Warriors' ability to fully develop him.
Yeah, I don't think Golden State truly developed Kuminga. I mean, they just didn't give him enough minutes in order to truly just see where he could be, because he honestly looks like he could be a solid 3-and-D wing in the future, but I mean, they just didn't develop him correctly or to his potential.
On signing him to a contract that could potentially pay him north of $40 million a year. When you compare that to the contract that Franz Wagner got from the Orlando Magic last year, you can imagine that JK's market is going to be similar or a little bit more than that. So the Warriors are currently all in on the development of Jonathan Kuminga and trying to figure out how successful this team could be with him in the starting lineup. Benching Draymond Green recently, and to our surprise, Draymond Green took that benching with class and grace.
Of course I'm okay with it. I've been one of JK's biggest fans since he's been here. And so if he has an opportunity to start, you can't be hypocritical and they're like, yo, we want him to start, but it'll be for you. And you can't be like, it's not for me. Like, that don't work. Like, I'm a fan of his. I want to see him do well.
Now, the reason why this is all relevant is Shams would tweet out earlier on Saturday that Golden State is in a serious pursuit of Brooklyn's Dennis Schroeder. Schroeder has been one of the top lead NBA guards, pushing the Nets to a surprise start, contending for a playoff berth. Sides are in deep conversations entering trade windows on Sunday. Now, I told you guys in our previous content to keep a lookout for December 15th. That's when teams could trade away the players that they
So you're Brooklyn and you got these 3 second-round picks. Like, what are they gonna use these for? Like, what? I should have looked up what year these picks were, because if they're like some years in which there's actually decent prospects, then it's gonna be good. But
ESPN, a dynamic playmaker and scorer,
it's just like, what are you gonna use those second picks for? I don't know, man.
Why is this so significant?
The significance of this trade is more on the periphery of the trade. The Warriors only have 4 second-round picks in the next 7 years, which is their 2020 2026 and 2028 via Atlanta, their own 2029, and their 2030, which is their own or Minnesota's. It's very impressive that the Warriors were able to do this trade while only giving up second round picks. But the significance about this trade was when Shams Charania initially tweeted out that the Warriors were in trade talks with the Brooklyn Nets in regards to Dennis Schroeder. The reason why the trade talks took so long because the Warriors were also asking about Cam Johnson in addition to Dennis Schroeder. The Warriors had the necessary salary to potentially acquire Cam Johnson and Dennis Schroeder from the Nets. Brooklyn was seeking out expiring contracts, which Golden State has an abundance of. So if that's the case, you might be wondering why it didn't end up happening. And Evan Siddery would tell us that after holding trade talks that included Cam Johnson along Dennis Schroeder, the Warriors were unwilling to relinquish Jonathan Kuminga to make it happen. Golden State then pivoted to focusing solely on Brooklyn's veteran guard as a key piece to their second unit. And honestly, I think they made the right decision here. Dennis Schroeder has been averaging 18 points per game, shooting 39% from beyond the arc, gives the Golden State Warriors valuable bench depth, and all they had to do is trade away an inefficient scorer that didn't really do much for them throughout the season. You would not be able to compete for a championship this year if you kept DeAnthony Melton. There's no question about it. You don't win championships by paying players that shoot 41% from the field, that average 20 minutes per game. That's how you take yourself out of the championship running. Dennis Schroeder is a huge improvement here. He's having an incredible season for the Brooklyn Nets.
I'm just surprised that the Nets didn't offer, like, they didn't ask for an offer, but at least one first round pick. I mean, 3 second round picks. It's just, I mean, that's absurd. But I guess that's Dennis Schroeder's value, I guess. I guess we're underestimating or overlooking his value, but I mean, that's just absurd.
Expecting them to get significantly more value for those players. But the significance about this is that the Warriors don't seem to be willing to trade Jonathan Kuminga. And I can't necessarily blame him because he took a huge step forward as a power forward last year, and he's only in his age 22 season. The Warriors view Jonathan Kuminga as a huge part of their future, and it seems like they're completely reluctant to include him in a potential trade. At the end of the day, I give both sides an A for this trade. It's a home run for both teams.
Alright, man, that's gonna do it for today's video. If you guys like today's video, make sure to like, subscribe as we're on the road to 5K. I'll see you on this one. Alright, peace out, man.